Today is August 9th. My name is Madison Dahl. I am an information officer with the incident management team responding to the Wesley Ridge wildfire. As of August 9th, the wildfire is 580 hectares. It is out of control. Fire size is based on the most current information available. Visibility is limited due to smoky conditions and difficult terrain. Accurate perimeter tracks and hectare size will continue to be updated as visibility improves and conditions permit. Today, on August 9th, we have 197 firefighters and firefighting personnel responding. That's 165 firefighters and additional resources. There are 14 pieces of heavy equipment and 9 helicopters responding to the incident. There are 17 dedicated structure protection personnel responding. The incident management team is comprised of 49 individuals. Personnel and equipment from 22 structural fire departments from across Vancouver Island, as well as the Lower Mainland and the Okanagan, including the Dashwood and Coombs Hilliers fire departments, have engaged alongside BC Wildfire Resources in structural protection and defense. Last night, fire activity was once again minimal and located to remote terrain. Night vision equipped helicopters were active through the evening and into the night, dropping water and identified areas of heat in the northern perimeter to ensure the security of the guard in that location. Growth of the Wesley Ridge wildfire was minimal again yesterday and limited to steep backcountry terrain. In these areas, the fire displayed mostly rank 1 fire behavior, which is a smoldering ground fire with no open flame. There were isolated pockets of rank 2 and rank 3. Rank 2 is a low vigor surface fire with some visible flame, and rank 3 is moderately vigorous with open flame. As temperatures continue to rise through the weekend, we can expect to see more smoke in the area as the fire finds unburned fuels to consume. Again, today we're expecting to see sun with a high of 26 degrees Celsius and a relative humidity of 40 to 45%. Winds will be from the north-northwest at 10 to 15 kilometers an hour, with a potential for gusts this afternoon as high as 30 kilometers an hour. These hot and dry conditions are expected to persist over the next few days. Vancouver Island is experiencing a significant drought. It will require a significant amount of precipitation over an extended period of time to penetrate into the Duff in order to have an impact on the drought in this area. These increased temperatures will impact fire behavior. We anticipate smoke in the forecast as the fire behavior increases with heat and consumes the available fuels. The majority of this smoke is coming from well within the perimeter of the fire, where it is accessing unburned areas and creating all of that smoke. There is going to be smoke from along the guard on the northern edge of the fire, where crews are working to bring the fire to an established control line. Overnight, we are seeing inversions, which is pulling the smoke down into the local areas. It's decreasing visibility and impacting air quality. As temperatures rise through the day, the smoke will clear and vent upwards. Operations today on Saturday, August 9th, we continue to work towards containing Wesley Ridge wildfire and ensuring ongoing protection of residences, properties, critical infrastructure, and other key values. We continue to work closely with the Regional District of Nanaimo and the Dashwood Volunteer Fire Department to coordinate all structural protection and mop-up patrol in residential areas. Crews and structure protection staff continue to patrol and fully extinguish remaining areas of heat and smoke near properties and infrastructure in the Little Qualicum River Village and Park area on the north side of Cameron Lake. As the immediate threat of wildfire decreases in the wildland-urban interface and residential areas, operational focus has shifted from structure protection and defense. Fire departments and structure protection personnel from those fire departments are being released from the incident to take some well-deserved rest and return to their communities to resume structure response responsibilities there. The Dashwood Volunteer Fire Department and BCWS crews remain active within residential areas, patrolling and mopping up in areas where the fire encroached into the community. On the northern edge of the fire, crews are cutting fuel-free control lines and digging guard where the ground is inaccessible for heavy equipment. These crews are using direct attack methods to remove available fuels from between the free-burning edge of the wildfire and the established guard. We will continue to see smoke along the outer edge of the fire as it moves down slope through unburned fuels. We will continue to see smoke along the outer edge of the fire as it moves down slope through unburned fuels and is stopped at the established guard. Crews have established water delivery to support direct attack and mop up along the guard. On the western shore of Cameron Lake, work continues to prevent the growth of the fire below the bluffs on Cameron Lake. Upslope, on the western edge of the Wesley Ridge wildfire, it's burning in challenging terrain with limited ground access. Heavy equipment is working to secure access into this area, and ground crews have built helipads to improve access for direct attack. One moment, please. So aircraft need plenty of space to safely and quickly collect water from rivers and lakes to help fight fires. If you see firefighting aircraft nearby, please clear the area, stay near the shore, and avoid interfering with firefighting operations. Highway 4 remains open. There is no stopping on the highway. Commuters should be aware that conditions may be smoky and there may be crews working alongside the highway. Please proceed with caution, drive to conditions, and do not stop. I'm going to pass it along to Lisa now, and then after she is done, we will take questions.
Thank you, Madison. So Lisa Grant, EOC Director. So our update for today, so as of August 6th, there remains 294 addresses on evacuation order, 353 addresses on evacuation alert. The vast majority of homes and properties include addresses that may be park, storage units, fire halls, hydro utility sites, office, cell tower, commercial, and gravel pit areas. We are working hard to enable residents on evacuation order in Little Qualicum River Village below Warren Way to return to their homes by August 11th. Once a return has been confirmed, detailed information will be provided to those evacuees who can return home. However, we continue to actively assess the wildfire situation and remind residents that conditions can change quickly. More information is available at rdn.bc.ca/current alerts. In regards to ESS data as of August 8th at 4 p.m., we currently have 226 households that are currently receiving supports. This is a combination of evacuation hotline, reception center, and self-serve. 505 evacuees are currently receiving ESS supports, again through a combination of evacuation hotline, reception centers, and self-serve supports. 315 households have received ESS support at some point during this event. 695 evacuees have received support directly through this event at some point. Some of our highlights include emergency support services have been extended for people under evacuation order until Monday, August 11th, and will be reviewed depending on the situation. To extend your ESS support, please call the Provincial ESS Hotline Center at 1-800-387-4258. Go to ess.gov.bc.ca or visit the reception center at visit the reception center at 747 Jones Street from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you have insurance, please work with your insurance provider before seeking ESS support. The reception center at Qualicum Civic Center is open and being staffed from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. To respect the privacy of our evacuees, we request no one aside from evacuees and emergency support services workers go to the reception center. An air-conditioned pet trailer is still on site at the reception center and is available for respite for evacuees using the reception center during those times that the reception center is open. Again, that's 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The SPCA is also available to house pets in need for longer-term lodging. The showers at Ravensong Aquatic Center are available to evacuees only, free of charge during their regular business hours. Evacuations can be overwhelming. Support is available through BC Mental Health Support Line at 310-6789. Reentry information is available for evacuees on our website at the rdn.bc.ca/Wesley Ridge Wildfire. Evacuees can reach out to BC Hydro to determine if they have experienced loss of power to their homes during this time. In regards to lake reminders, we want to remind the public that Cameron Lake, Horn Lake, and Spider Lake are being utilized for water bucketing. People on or in the lakes need to stay close to the shore and allow for helicopter access to pick up water. Horn Lake boat launch remains closed. All updates on our website remain current and accurate, even if dated July 31st. The following RDM parks remain closed: Little Qualicum River, Aerosmith CPR Trail, and Meadowwood Park. Once again, I'll repeat that. The following RDN parks remain closed: Little Qualicum River, Aerosmith CPR Trail, and Meadowwood Park. We've received many calls asking how to provide support. While we greatly appreciate the overwhelming support from the community, the RDN and fire departments are not able to accept donations of food, clothing, and goods at this time. Finally, in regards to agriculture support, we have supported one agricultural livestock relocation during the Wesley Ridge wildfire to date. We are supporting residents in wildfire-affected areas with livestock-related needs. Our approach is guided by the standards set by Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness. Where you can find additional information, the RDN website, www.rdn.bc.ca/current alerts, the RDN EOC call center, number 250-390-6538, which is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and BC Wildfire Services information. Thank you.
Thank you, Madison and Lisa. I'll now call on the media for questions. I'll do that in the order that they are placed in the chat. If you would like to ask a question, please put it in the chat along with your first name, the name of your outlet, and if the question is for BC Wildfire Service or the Regional District of Nanaimo. If we don't have a first name and media outlet name, we will not call on you to ask a question. Our first question is from Akshay from CBC. Akshay, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, thanks. So I guess I would start with just the BC Wildfire Service first. Madison, I know you mentioned there's going to be smoke visible in the area, but I also know like last weekend, this was probably addressed during the week as well, but I just wanted to ask, have you been encountering anyone sort of infringing on active wildfire areas, that sort of thing? Because I know we had the Conservation Officer Service tell us that they were finding some people. So I'm just wondering if that's been a persistent problem, or is that something that you just, you want to talk to people about?
So wildfires are active work sites. There is no entry into an evacuation order area or into an active wildfire area. We will work with conservation officers and the RCMP if there are any encroachments or infringements. And if you witness any or have any concerns, please contact conservation officers. You can contact the RCMP, but the conservation officers are at 1-877-952-7277.
Okay, thank you so much. And I guess one question for Lisa here. I know you mentioned, just the sort of ongoing work there. But I saw on Facebook that the RDN says that could be a potential reentry by Monday. I'm just wondering, do you have any more details on like whether that's a partial downgrade like we saw earlier in the week, or is this going to be a full scale? Like, do you have more details on how that could look like?
Sure, thank you. In regards to reentry, it's as noted, it's all the properties before or below Warren Way. So approximately 39 or so properties would remain on order. The remainder, we are hoping to open up for return. We are actively monitoring the situation to ensure that it is safe for people to return. And we'll be sharing that information as soon as we're able to, and allow people to come back in. So again, we're working on safe measures to make sure that people are able to return. We have identified an area below Warren Way, and we'll share that information as soon as we're able to.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Wolfgang from Canadian Press, could you unmute yourself and ask your question to the RDN?
Yes, actually also to BC Wildfire Service. I'll maybe start with the question to the Wildfire Service first. So yesterday's update pegged the size of the fire at 571, and today it's 580. What is sort of the long-term trajectory for the fire at this stage, given that given those numbers, not just from yesterday to today, but also for the last few days, where we've seen sort of a steady, forgive the term, sort of a steady figure. Can you sort of talk about the long-term trajectory for the fire?
Yeah, of course. There's a number of reasons that the perimeter and the hectare size are going to continue to change. One is that the fire is burning in rugged terrain, and so we need to ensure that we are going to get an accurate track. There are areas of the fire, especially along the western part, the northern part, where it's difficult to get an incredibly accurate track. And so we are just working to make sure we get that. So as we get better details there, it will change and adjust. The other reason is that the fire is consuming fuels as it reaches the guard. So as that guard is established and as those fuels are consumed, the shape of the fire will change, and there will be changes to the perimeter and the hectare size.
Yeah, and a question for Lisa. So you mentioned that August 11th could be a return date for some, but not all of the residents. If they were to return on August 11th, can you sort of quantify that? How many? What would be sort of the percentage share of residents coming potentially back on August the 11th? Thank you.
By number of residents, and that would be hard to say. Thank you. It's hard to give a definitive answer. We don't go by residents, we go by households. And because we are currently reviewing exactly the safety, the situation, and who can return, we're not able to speak directly to that at this time. Once we're ready to remove the order and move it to an alert and have that reentry beginning, then we'll have a better idea of the number of total households included at that time.
Thank you.
Jennifer from Radio Canada, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Thank you for taking my question. So currently, Environment Canada doesn't have any air quality warnings on their website. The BC Wildfire Services mentioned that there will be a lot of smoke. How is the air in the area, and what are you recommending to residents or people going through this area right now?
Smoke impact is going to shift depending on weather conditions. It will change with temperature as well as winds. So as with the rest of British Columbia, if there's smoke in your area or you have health sensitivities or are impacted by smoke, we recommend that you seek clean air facilities in your area and you follow the recommendations from the Centre for Disease Control British Columbia or your local health authority. They will indicate if there are any alerts about air quality. And then there are also resources you can use from your local authority to find clean air spaces. But stay indoors if you have sensitivities, and just be aware that when the winds shift and temperatures change, it will impact what the smoke does and where it settles.
And I have a follow-up as well about the state of Highway 4. Can you tell us a bit more about how it looks like, what recommendations you have for people going through that road this weekend?
Keeping Highway 4 open is a priority. It remains open. Commuters should be aware that conditions might be smoky, and there may be crews working alongside or driving along the highway. There's no stopping along Highway 4 in the vicinity of the wildfire. There are signs that are posted. Please drive with caution, drive to the conditions, and do not stop. If you do have questions about any changes or you're looking to monitor Highway 4, please visit Drive BC.
Liz from Czech News, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question to the BCWS?
Hi there. Thank you so much. Liz here. Question for BC Wildfire. And as I think we're on day 10, it might be. And just as far as I think sometimes it can be hard to convey to people what exactly is happening behind the scenes and how conditions can change so quickly, and how, you know, teams have to pivot and respond and adjust strategies. And I guess for this particular fire, I was hoping you could kind of convey a bit of that with, you know, initial responses and then having to go into more of a reactive or defensive mode, what that means and what the characteristics or traits are of this wildfire that makes it such a beast, if you will, with 22 different departments compared to other fires that we're seeing on the island this summer. Thank you.
It's a very involved question. Wildfires by their nature are dynamic. Every wildfire is different. and requires different strategies. We are well-resourced, and we work very closely with our partners as we have here. The Wesley Ridge Wildfire is burning in different types of terrain. Some parts are inaccessible for heavy equipment, that's where we utilize ground crews, and we depend on helicopter access. There are parts that are burning along the lakeshore, so it requires a different approach depending. There's very old timber and danger trees. So as I've mentioned before, and as we will always state, the safety of our crews is our number one concern. And so we need to make sure it's safe for them to operate in certain areas. The other challenges in this wildfire are the WUI, so the wildland urban interface, and its impact to residences. And in those cases, like we have here, we worked very closely with the Dashwood Fire Department, as well as the Coombs-Hilliers Fire Department and the Regional District, to ensure that the necessary resources to respond appropriately to this fire are in place, and they have been in place. And as I've mentioned and talked about with our resources, and you can see if you follow the wildfire incident page online, they are going to change and shift as the need changes. We have a number of ground crews, and their focus shifts as the wildfire shifts, and as we move away from the dedicated structure protection, it shifts into firefighting more in the wilderness, in the wildland area. So as it's required, it will shift, and we are prepared to action wildfires in any of the conditions that we see here on Vancouver Island and throughout the province.
Great, thank you very much.
Those are all of the questions in the chat. I'm going to hold one more minute to see if any other questions pop up.
Can I ask a follow-up? Is that all right? Okay, great, thanks. As far as the pockets of, you were talking about the different ranks, could you just go into that a little bit more, as far as, you know, what crews are focusing on today, the isolated pockets of rank 1, 2, and 3? Thank you.
Yeah. So the majority of the fire is displaying rank 1 fire behavior. That's a smoldering ground fire with no open flame. Inside the perimeter of the fire, we are seeing isolated pockets of rank 2. We will continue to see that throughout the summer. Vancouver Island is in a drought. There's a lot of available fuel, and this fire is burning deep into the duff. Rank 2 is a low vigor surface fire with some visible flame. And as the fire works its way through the available timber and the available fuel, it's going to consume that fuel and put up areas of smoke. This is going to be especially visible as you drive along Highway 4 and look out over Cameron Lake. You will continue to see smoke from this area. There's lots of downed trees and there's lots of available fuel. Rank 3 is a moderately vigorous surface fire with visible flame. And in some pockets, especially given wind and heat, you're going to be able to see some of that. As long as it's well within the perimeter, it is expected. So as we go through the summer, we will continue to see smoke from this fire.